Okay, let's just jump right into this explainer, because today we are going on a really fun personal exploration into the mind of an absolute visionary. We're talking about a guy who completely revolutionized how we think about tools, a thinker who somehow managed to bridge the gap between back-to-the-land 1960s hippies and high-tech Silicon Valley engineers. And honestly, someone who's actively trying to shift our brains from the frantic present to the deep cosmic future. We're talking about Stuart Brand, so let's get into it.
Back in 1968, Brand dropped this incredibly radical line. He said, "We are as gods and might as well get good at it." Think about that for a second. That wasn't just a catchy slogan, it was a total wake-up call. It was giving an entire generation permission to step up, take active, hands-on responsibility for their own lives, and actually shape the world around them instead of just passively letting things happen to them.
So, who is the guy making claims like that? Well, Stuart Brand's story is just fascinating. He started out right in the thick of the 60s counterculture and eventually morphed into this sort of Silicon Valley prophet and deep systems thinker. But no matter what he was looking at, ecology, technology, or just human civilization as a whole, he kept coming back to one central obsession. He was always asking, what tools actually help us become more capable, more responsible, and way more aware of the world we're living in? Which brings us to our first major idea, the whole Earth worldview, and this concept of access to tools. Let's look at how he launched this into the mainstream. In 1968, Brand put out the Whole Earth catalog. Now, if you haven't seen this, you might think it was just some mail-order directory, but no, it was a whole worldview bound in a book. It was subtitled Access to Tools, and it was basically the ultimate DIY Bible for independent learning. The message was crystal clear. You have agency. If you can just get your hands on the right ideas and the right equipment, you, yes you, can build, repair, farm, design, and just totally explore the world on your own terms. And the crazy thing is how broadly he defined the word tools. Sure, he meant physical stuff. Hammers, farming gear, blueprints for building those really cool, sustainable geodesic domes. But he didn't stop there. He also included books on cybernetics, early computer technology, and radical new models for education. To Brand, ideas were tools too. He totally blew the doors off what we think of as empowering.
And that massive expansion of what a tool could be leads us perfectly into Section 2, Counterculture meets Cyberculture, and how he bridged these two very different worlds.
Okay, picture this. You've got two completely distinct groups of people hanging around the San Francisco Bay Area in the late 60s. On one hand, you have the counterculture, the communes, the nature-loving ecologists, folks wanting to decentralize everything. And then, just down the road, you've got the cyberculture, military-funded engineers, hackers, guys building the early internet at places like Xerox PARC. Brand was this incredibly unique bridge between the rustic, back-to-the-land hippies and these high-tech computer nerds. And this is where he did something brilliant. He translated the tech world for the commune world. Back then, computers were viewed as these scary, massive, bureaucratic mainframes locked away in corporate basements. But Brand totally reframed them. He looked at a computer and saw the ultimate tool for personal empowerment. He saw an engine for creativity and individual liberation. It wasn't a corporate machine, it was a tool for the mind.
His fingerprints are literally all over the birth of the digital age. In 1968, he was actually the camera operator at the mother of all demos, which is where the computer mouse and hypertext were shown to the world for the very first time. In '72, he wrote this groundbreaking Rolling Stone piece called Space War, where he championed computer hackers as the new frontier pioneers. And by 1985, he's co-founding The Well, one of the first online communities ever. He really treated the personal computer revolution as the living, breathing legacy of 1960s ideals.
Now, let's zoom out a bit for Section 3, the PACE Layers Framework, Systems and Speed. Because Brand didn't just study individual tools, he looked at how the entire system of human society moves.
He came up with this brilliant concept called pace layering. It's essentially a framework that explains how different parts of a complex system change at drastically different speeds. And here's the kicker. A healthy society actually needs both extremes. It needs some parts moving at breakneck speed to test out new ideas, and other parts moving glacially slow to keep the whole thing from falling apart.
Think of it like a stack, moving from the fastest layers at the top down to the slowest at the bottom. Up top, you have fashion. It is quick, it's totally experimental, literally changing week to week. Right below that is commerce, feeding off that fast energy. But then, things start to hit the brakes. Infrastructure takes decades to build. Governance takes generations to shift. Culture evolves over centuries. And at the very bottom is nature,
operating on these vast, incredibly slow geological timescales.
The genius of this framework is showing why they all have to work together. The fast layers up top, fashion and commerce, they're the froth. They innovate, they learn fast, they absorb the daily shocks. But the slow layers at the bottom, culture and nature, they provide the stability, they hold the memory. If we run our entire civilization at the frantic speed of commerce, we crash. But if we only move at the speed of culture, we stagnate. The healthy friction between these layers is exactly what makes a civilization survive.
And understanding the deep, quiet power of those slow layers brings us to Section 4, the long now, counteracting the short now. This is where things get truly epic. 10,000. Just let the sheer size of that number, 10,000 years, sink in for a second. That represents pretty much the entire history of human civilization and technology so far. I mean, we've got fragments of clay pots that are 10,000 years old. But for Stuart Brand, that number isn't just about looking backward. It's the exact scale of the future we need to be actively designing for right now. To make that massive, abstract idea feel real, Brand co-founded the Long Now Foundation, and they are literally building a 10,000-year clock. Yes, an actual physical clock. It's this monumental mechanical timepiece, hundreds of feet tall, currently being carved deep into the inside of a mountain out in West Texas. Its sole purpose is to accurately keep time for the next 10 millennia.
You might be wondering, how do you even build something to last that long? Well, it powers itself by capturing thermal energy from the sun at noon. It keeps time using this massive, incredibly slow-swinging pendulum. But here is the coolest part. The visible dials only update when a human visitor physically winds it. And when they do, a mechanical computer generates one of 3.5 million unique bell chime sequences. So the clock will ring a different melody every single day for 10,000 years. And it's built with diamond-hard ceramic bearings, so it never even needs oil. It is just an absolute marvel of long-term engineering.
But why go to all this trouble? Well, to borrow a thought from the author Michael Chabon, civilization has revved itself into a pathologically short attention span. We are so completely obsessed with the next financial quarter, the next election, the next 5 minutes of our social media feeds. The clock is meant to be an antidote to all of that. It's a modern myth, a tangible symbol begging us to slow down and practice immense patience in a frantic world.
Which brings us to our final section. Section 5. Are we good ancestors? This is where the rubber meets the road. Let's bring that cosmic 10,000-year scale right back down to you and me. Today.
Because ultimately, this is all about a massive shift in mindset. We've got to stop living in the short now of instant gratification and start living in the long now of centuries. Think about it. Assuming human civilization will even be here in 10,000 years is an act of radical optimism. And it forces us to expand our empathy to include future generations of humans we are never, ever going to meet.
So, if you want to practically apply Stuart Brand's philosophy to your own life, I challenge you to audit your day. Start by asking, what tools are shaping me? From the smartphone in your hand to the algorithms deciding what news you read to the ideas you let into your head, are these tools actually making you more capable and aware of your environment, or are they just distracting you? Number 2, are we thinking long enough? When you make a decision, at your job, in your neighborhood, or just for your family, are you looking past the fast, frothy layers of fashion and commerce? Are you actually considering how it impacts the slow, vital layers of culture and nature? And finally, the big one. The ultimate question, made famous by Jonas Salk and echoed by Brand. Are we being good ancestors? Are we building things, repairing things, and maintaining systems that people thousands of years from now will actually thank us for? Out there in the desert, that 10,000-year clock is quietly ticking away, asking us what legacy we're leaving in the long now. And that is definitely something for all of us to ponder today. Thanks so much for going on this exploration with me.